As we pursue wisdom, we need to know whether the people around us are giving us wise or foolish advice. So James tells us the second way to become wise is to test whether people are wise. James 3:13 reads, "Who is wise and understanding among you? By his good conduct let him show his works in the meekness of wisdom." James wrote that wise and understanding people have two character traits, good conduct and the meekness of wisdom. That the wise have good conduct is all through the book of Proverbs, which tells us the wise follow God's commands. We will see that Proverbs compares the actions of the wise and the foolish frequently so that we can recognize to whom we should listen and whom we should ignore. This is what Jesus taught too. In Matthew 7:24-27, Jesus said, "Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house. Yet it did not fall, because it had its foundation on the rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man who built his house on sand. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell with a great crash." Thus, Jesus taught that the wise both listen to him and do what he says. The Apostle Paul was familiar with Proverbs too, and he wrote this about wisdom in Colossians 1:9-12. "And so, from the day we heard, we have not ceased to pray for you, asking that you may be filled with the knowledge of his will in all spiritual wisdom and understanding, so as to walk in a manner worthy of the Lord, fully pleasing to him, bearing fruit in every good work, and increasing in the knowledge of God, being strengthened with all power according to his glorious might, for all endurance and patience with joy, giving thanks to the Father who has qualified you to share in the inheritance of the saints in light." Here again, wisdom leads to living in a way that fully pleases the Lord. The second character trait that James 3:13 tells us that the wise have is that they show their works in the meekness of wisdom. In other words, the wise are humble and don't boast. We will see that Proverbs similarly teaches that the wise are humble.